What's up, guys? It's Brandon Flash. Today you're joining me with my 2023 Tesla Model Y all-wheel drive. This version does have a heat pump. It's the 4680 battery pack, and we're going on a drive. So as I mentioned, we're going on a drive in my Model Y 4680. We're putting about 170 miles straight on it. We're not preconditioning the battery. And we're just going to see how much the battery heats up on this drive. And you might ask why we're doing this. Well, a lot of people seem to think that highway driving, that their battery should be pretty warm, when in fact, that is generally not the case. If you just go out of your garage and then drive 100 miles, there's a good chance in cold weather that your battery will actually be cooler than when you started. So I'm going to show you my starting battery temperature. I'll show you the drive that we're going to be doing, and then we're going to see the temperature at the end, and then we'll talk about it. So here we are, we're at 97%. We left my garage about 5 miles ago. I charged to 100% on a 120 volt plug, just to top off the battery. We are at a 70.7 degree Fahrenheit battery cell temperature. So that's the minimum cell temp. This is from Tessie. So that's the coldest battery pack module. And then outside conditions, so it's about 30 degrees outside right now. It looks like towards the tail end of the drive, it might be warming up to about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So pretty chilly this morning. And my suspicion is that that temperature will actually be going down over the course of this drive. We're going to be doing about 160 miles to Apex, North Carolina. And that's all highway basically. So kind of 70 miles per hour, plus or minus, depending on traffic. And then that should not do a whole lot for the battery temperature. And again, we're not going to be preconditioning. So if I was going for fast charging on this trip, I would set my destination as one of these superchargers along the route. But we are not doing that this morning. And then we will see what the result is at the end. And I know I've already given my prediction, but I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. I've actually done a similar video with my former Rivian to prove the same point, and it did kind of what I'm describing. It did not heat up the battery, or at least not in any meaningful way. So comment down below before you watch the rest of the video. Well, we just arrived 178 miles later, 173 miles since I started filming. Must say that FSD did really well on this trip. We are on FSD 12.5.6.3. That's a mouthful. I had it on the hurry profile and had it on the entire time. I think there were twice that I did manual lane changes, or not like manual, but signaled instead of letting it do it itself. One was because there was a cop in the median and I just wanted to get over out of the left lane. And then another time it was holding in the left lane and didn't want to pass on the right between or behind someone that was going way too slow in the left lane. So that was a pretty reasonable move on the car's part. But what you're here for is the battery temperature. So we are at, let me flip the camera around. So we are at 83 degrees Fahrenheit. We drained it all the way down to 6%. We drove 178 miles since 100%. So that puts us somewhere around the 180, 190 mark, somewhere full charge range. Again, it's pretty chilly. It's gotten up to 39 degrees outside, but this is Tessie if you're not familiar. So we'll go into here, into this drive. And what's cool is that Tessie will actually show you your battery temperature over the course of your drive. So there's the route that we just did. Electric cost because I charged it at home, so it did factor some of that in. There's the elevation profile, so we went down a net of 210 feet. We used 240 miles of EPA range, 72% compared to estimated efficiency. Started at 97, ended at 90 or at 6%. Also, let's just compare here. So here's the drive. So we used 31% more than what it expected. Interesting that it mentions battery conditioning here, because it didn't actually battery condition as shown here, but it also mentioned air drag and tire drag. My tires are actually inflated more than what Tesla recommends of 42 PSI. So pretty interesting that they would call out tire drag battery conditioning. Climate was also pretty mild. I had it set to 68 for most of it. I just set it towards the end there to 70 manual because my feet were getting a little bit chilly. But overall, pretty interesting that it would show this 26% more than the vehicle estimation, which is pretty bad, I'd say. And then we'll go back into Tessie here. So we use 63 kilowatt hours, which is interesting because that's more than what this says. So, actually that makes sense because we may have had some regen, so it may have used energy twice. I'm not entirely sure why that's so different from this. I'll have to look into that. Odometer, again, 172.67, which matches 173. And here is the battery temperature. So you can see a very gradual rise there over the course of the drive. So we started at, again, about 71.6 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're ending here at, let's see if it wants to stay, about 84 degrees Fahrenheit. And that is not that much of an increase. Here you can see interior temperature. So 68, had it at 66 for most of it, and then towards the end there bumped it up to 70. And exterior temperature, very gradual rise. It's still below 42 degrees outside. So I think the main thing here is that the battery did not increase in temperature that much, considering we drove for 2.5 hours. And that's a common argument I hear online, is that, well, I was driving for over an hour. I was driving for 2 hours. Why am I not getting full battery speeds? When they didn't precondition. And it's because the battery doesn't really heat up that substantially when you're driving in cool temperatures. And in some cases, if it was even cooler than it was today was relatively mild temperatures as far as winter is concerned. North Carolina doesn't get that cold. You can actually have the battery cool over the course of a drive, especially if it's like single digit, like 8 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that. That is pretty cold. And that can actually cool your battery down over the course of the drive. And just as a basis, again, is that if I were to have set a supercharger as my destination on this trip, it likely would have heated the battery to well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, probably somewhere in the range of 110, if I had to guess, especially for this low single-digit arrival state of charge. And that's a big difference compared to the 80 or so that it was at. And this was actually a relatively high starting point. So if we had started at, say, a 30 or 40 degree battery temperature, if I had parked outside rather than in my garage that stays relatively warm compared to ambient temperature, because it's insulated-ish, that would have made an even bigger difference. So we'd love to hear what you guys think down below. If you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment down below with your thoughts. If you track this stuff, Tessie is awesome and does what they call direct telemetry to be able to pull the battery temperature remotely and log it. If someone has a referral link for Tessie, shoot it to me on Twitter or X via DM, and I can put it in the pinned comment down below. If you try to comment your own, it won't let you because of YouTube spam filtering. But I'll put it there. I've already achieved lifetime status on Tessie thanks to you guys, so I don't need to get any more referrals on there. But again, thank you guys for watching. I will see you on the next one.